Oak Rehab. And I work in the TSW unit, so transition from school to work. And then I'm also a co-chair for CoPT. I was a co-chair with Vanessa for a little while. I have no idea. Time doesn't even make sense anymore because of the pandemic, but so, and then I will call on Claudia next.
Good afternoon, I'm Claudia Merrims. I'm a transition from school to work VR counselor as well, the same unit as Heather. And I will call on Stephanie next.
Hello, everyone. This is Stephanie Chapman. I'm also a VR counselor with Heather and Claudia with the TSW unit. We calling people out. I'm gonna go with Sochi.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Sochi Sierra. I'm the project search instructor at U Arizona. And I am also a co-chair with Miss Heather and with Miss Nikki. So I'm excited to be here. And then I will call out, how about Miss Wynn? I owe her an email.
You'll get to it. I'm Deborah Wynn with Career Link Southwest. We are a vendor for JDR. Have some other ideas in the works that involve all of you at some point. And that's about it. I love working with all of you. I'm going to call out Brie.
Hi, thank you for having us today. My name is Brie Seward. I'm the Executive Director of the Autism Society of Southern Arizona, and I'll pass it on to Maxine, who's also going to be speaking.
Hi, I am Maxine Mathews. I work for the Autism Society of Southern Arizona. I'm the information and referral specialist here with the Autism Society, and I will be speaking today with Brie. And I will pass it to Connie.
Hi, I'm Connie Tolliver from Voc Rehab.
I think you need to pass it on to somebody, Connie.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Who hasn't spoken yet?
You're multitasking, aren't you, Connie?
Oh, Nikki Daly.
Thanks, Connie. I just raised my hand because that seemed like the right thing to do. I'm Nikki Daly, and I am the project search instructor here at Banner South. And I am also one of the co-chairs with Heather and Sochi. So thanks for everybody being here. Let's pass it off to Miss Nelly Sanchez.
Thank you, Nikki. Good afternoon, everyone. Nelly Sanchez with DDD, Employment Specialist with DDD for District South. And I will pass on Terry Simpson.
Hello, everyone. I'm Terry Simpson. I'm also an Employment Services Specialist here in District South with DDD. And I'm not sure who is left that I can pass it on to. Can you help me out?
I think we have Kim, Fiona, and Steve.
Fiona.
Hi, I'm Fiona Donahoe, and I am the Statewide Developmental Disability Coordinator with Voc Rehab. And I think Steve hasn't gone yet. Is that right?
I'm not sure he's here yet, or he's back, but Kim hasn't gone yet.
Okay, how about Kim?
Hi, I'm Kim Seconder. I'm the parent of a student enrolled at Project Search at University of Arizona, and I just wanted to sit in and see what you guys talk about and see if there's something I can gain from the experience.
Awesome. We're happy to have you, Kim. And then Steve is not back yet, but when he comes back, well, whoever doesn't know him will have him introduce himself. Do we have any updates? Does anybody want to share before we get going with our presentations? Nothing? If you
I
think,
will,
go ahead.
I'll
Go ahead.
add something. I know, I always got something to say. We are still, our application is still open. So if anybody is or has a client or a student that they have thought of that might benefit from Project Search, have them reach out. And we're doing tours, not quite at Banner South yet, but Arizona, we are doing tours. So anybody else you can think of, please spread the word.
Thanks, Sochi. Okay, Fiona, you have something?
I just want to share that we are wrapping up in a collaboration with DDD and our transition folks. We're wrapping up a recorded presentation that talks about DDD and VR and how we collaborate. So that will be ready very soon.
And where will people be able to find that once it's ready?
Once we've recorded it, which we plan to do at the end of this week, we will be sharing it far and wide. So I'll have to give you an update of where that might be housed, but I don't think we've decided that yet, but we will be definitely sharing it far and wide. So.
Okay, awesome. And maybe that's something that we can share on our YouTube page, but we can stay in touch with you, Fiona, to see if that's going to be appropriate. And for those who don't know, we do have a YouTube page, which is on the agenda. If you want to click on the agenda, there's a link to it. And that's where we're housing these recordings and these presentations. So if you want to go back and watch something that you may have missed, that's where you will find it. We only have it as far as, I think there may be one old one, but since Nikki and Sochi and I have started this year, we've been putting them on there. And our plan is to have them all for this year on there. And then moving forward, we'll see what happens. So, Hailey, did you introduce yourself?
No, I was late, so I just
got
quiet.
You just blended right in.
Yeah, but I'm Hailey Thoman. I'm the Associate Director at Direct Advocacy and Resource Center.
Thanks, Hailey. And we'll be hearing from her in just a little bit. So in the interest of time, let's go ahead and get started. Brie and Maxine, do you have a PowerPoint and do you have access? Have you tried to make sure you do? Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get started.
Yeah, go ahead.
All
Go
right.
for it. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing, being able to share your space with us today and learn a little bit about what we do. It's great to see you all, and I appreciate all the work that you do. So please know that we're here to lend our support. If you do have programs that you want to get out in the community, let us know what those are and how we can get them to our families and adults. So my name's Brie Seward. I'm the Executive Director of the Autism Society of Southern Arizona. And our mission has been updated, but it really kind of sums up what we do. So we create connections and we empower everyone in the autism community with the resources needed to live fully. So it is our job to meet the need of every call that comes in and direct people on where to go. And whether they need a diagnosis, even if 60% of our calls are from adults who were not diagnosed before. So we make sure to guide those people to those providers that can diagnose at the adult level, and then also pediatrics. And then what happens next? What are those where we direct them to you, in those transition resources, those college level supports, and even if you're, elementary school age, where do you go from there after you leave the doctor's office? So we help provide those resources to families. This is a really exciting time. I'm glad that we are able to share with you a little bit about what's expected through March and April. So we are on March 15th, we're going to the Board of Supervisors for Pima County, and we are officially proclaiming that April will be Autism Acceptance Month. So for our county. And so this is a first for us, and we really want to move from that awareness movement to acceptance, because it's not enough to be aware about autism, but acceptance brings action to the table, and it really can change things. So we can show you a little bit about how we're doing that in our community. So acceptance really is breaking down those labels and stigmas and creating more space in the heart for kindness, care, and advocacy, which we're here to talk about today. I didn't share the sound yet, so let me go back. So let me hit that button. Here we go. And this is what we put together to show how the community is making strides already and how organizations are creating or have programs that already exist for families and adults, and for the others to be inspired by the work that is already being done, and for families to get even more connected. If they see a program that they didn't know existed, you know, they now know it exists. So this is really our project that we are delivering for April, and it's visible now, but we're really going to start moving this throughout the community as we lead up to Autism Acceptance Month. So if you could just let me know if there's any complications with watching this.
April is Autism Acceptance
Brie,
Month.
we don't
and we
see
can
the
all
video.
play a part.
You can't what?
We
The
can't see
video?
the video. We just
Okay.
see your desktop.
Oh, okay. All right. Wrong screen. Wrong screen. Hold on. Thank you for telling me now instead of like 5 minutes from now. Okay. All right. I appreciate that. Whoops. All right. Can you see the presentation screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, here we go.
April is Autism Acceptance Month, and we can all play a part in making a difference in the life of autistic individuals. When acceptance occurs, it sparks change that is needed to improve opportunities within education, employment, housing, and healthcare systems. Let's join to support the autism community and see the difference we can make as a city. I'm all in for autism. Are you?
Okay, and I would like to share with you the community video. So let me share that with you. Can you see my YouTube screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
April is Autism Acceptance Month. Let's join to support the autism community and see the difference we can make as a city. I'm all in for autism. Are you?
Hi, we're the Tucson Roadrunners, and we're all in for autism.
We are proud to lend our support as a sustaining partner to the Autism Society of Southern Arizona. Banner University Health Plan is all in for autism.
I am all in for autism, not just with the work that I do, but every day in my life.
Children's Museum Tucson is all in for autism through our My Time program.
Premier Wealth Advisors and Premier Wealth and Premier Retirement Planning and Wealth Management is proud to be here and do what we do and help this cause. And we hope you are too. Let's all be in for autism.
Whether we're providing respite or teaching a new skill, attending a service planning meeting, or advising a new family on how to obtain services, this is how Absolute HCBS is all in for this community, all in for your family, and how we are all in for autism.
Hi, I'm Joe Salkowski, Senior Director of Communications and Public Affairs for Tucson Electric Power. Our company is a big supporter of the Autism Society of Southern Arizona. TEP is all in for autism.
We're all in for autism.
I'm Destiny Wagner with We Rock the Spectrum Kids Gym, and we're all in for autism. Helping Hands is all in for autism.
Welcome to the Intermountain Sensory Park. In cooperation with the City of Tucson, we are building the only sensory park west of the Mississippi. Intermountain is all in for autism.
Hi, my name is Dustin Williams. I'm the elected Pima County School Superintendent, and our office is all in for autism.
Our philosophy is that our programming here at the J is for all people of all ages. And acing autism and being all in for autism is a key component of our serving the community.
I'm all in for autism. We are all definitely in for autism.
Playformance is all in for autism.
Alone, we can do so little, but together we can do so much. We are all in for autism.
Okay. Can you see the presentation again? Okay. Okay, just making sure I'm back. So that's really how we're celebrating the community, and hopefully people see this and say, hey, how can I be the change? How can I in my community, if as a business leader, hire an adult with autism and give people a chance that they wouldn't otherwise given them? So so that's really our starting point. And you know, I don't, if some people aren't aware, but the latest CDC prevalency rates came out. So it's 1 out of 40 children in Arizona are identified with autism, and it was 1 in 63. So really that message is, teachers out there, you will have individuals with autism in your class. You will, are you prepared? Are you ready? And so we'll talk about how we're trying to get the community ready and prepared, and people, you know, just to be able to talk about autism, break those barriers of, you know, the stigma, and just give people the tools that they need to be ready to teach autistic students, to create inclusive environments. And so it still hasn't changed. You know, the boys are really 3 times as more likely to be identified with autism than girls. So the gap is close, you know, is close, you know, that you either know someone with autism, you're related to somebody, you have a child, so it really affects us all. And autism, you know, just defined, which I'm sure you all know this, is just a broad range of conditions characterized by challenges with social skills, repetitive behavior, speech, and nonverbal communication. So that's really, you know, when we're providing this presentation to our community, we're teaching people what autism is, and just having parents understand what to look for. And even there's adults that call us and say, you know what, this sounds like me, this sounds like my husband. And so we just want to get the message out with what autism is, and then that next step with what we can do in our community to make it a better place for autistic individuals. And this is a little bit about who we are, if you're not familiar with us. So I changed that part-time staff number to 2 this week, from 2 to 3. We now just hired our program and grant coordinator. Hailey used to be on our board, so I'm sure she realizes that's a really big deal for us because we're very small. It's primarily Maxine and myself getting out into the community, running our programs, getting that awareness piece out, and representing us in the community, and making those relationships, creating those relationships that we have with you all, so that you can let your members and your clients know that we're here to help serve. And this is just a background about our experience, but we really, oh, there's Hailey in that picture there. So we've lived it, you know, where I'm a parent of a son that was diagnosed with autism at 3.5. He's now 11. And so we've lived it, we walked through it, and there's been ebb and flows of our journeys with how hard it is and how easy it is at sometimes, but we're really able to speak to parents at their level. So when they call us crying, they kind of leave feeling relieved, like they have someone that meets them right where they're at and understands what they're walking through. So what we do is we assist individuals navigating autism, and it's really hard. It's not an easy diagnosis. There's no map. When you leave I remember leaving the doctor's office and just thinking, what next? I feel like I fell off a cliff. And because of the nature of who I am, I really kind of put things together. And the way Maxine is, she'll find the resources. If they don't exist, she'll find them and we'll put them together. And that's what we did for our own lives. And really, that's our mission, is to do it for other people who might not be able to get out of bed that next day or have grandparents raising their children. And so we're able to put these resources together, which Maxine will talk a little bit about. But we also offer social skills classes, parent trainings, teen and adult meetups. I think for your clients, it's really important to let them know we have an adult social club that meets once a month. They've done really neat things together, like create vision boards. We've had peer support leaders come in and helps talk to them about the things that are you know, they want to share, and that they create this community together. And we've built this across the pandemic, and they've been really close and growing, and there's new people every month. So this is a really great opportunity to have adults learn from each other. And we also do community trainings, and Maxine runs our parent peer support group with a father who has a young child with autism. So we also offer those once a month, and those are for parents. And I'll hand it off to Maxine, who will tell you a little bit about what she does for our Navigating Autism program.
So hi, I'm Maxine Mathews. I am the Information Referral Specialist for the Autism Society. And I did want to really talk about kind of jump off the autism acceptance and what it means in advocacy, self-advocacy, or even parents wanting to advocate for their children. So a big part of the information referral services are getting those resources of, I need a diagnosis, can you find me someone who can diagnose, or I need to find a behavior therapist or an ABA agency, or tell me a little bit about IEPs. And I really want to find that information and try to get the most up-to-date resources that are in Southern Arizona to people that call every day. But the advocacy piece is really huge, only because I remember being a parent, a very young parent who got a diagnosis with my son. He's 17 now, but he got a diagnosis when he was 4.5, and not knowing how to even navigate after the diagnosis, and learning how to. And the biggest way that I was able to really step into my power, and what I discuss with everyone who calls, parents and adults, is that discussion of connection and not being isolated. And so what we're doing here for the Autism Society with the autism acceptance is also our training programs as well, because we find that the more people are accepting of the diagnosis of autism, the more helpful they'll be with people and with families and with adults that need help. So a little bit about that, like I'll give you an example, is I had an adult call, and they were saying that they were feeling very isolated. They were having depression and anxiety. They had just gotten a diagnosis, and they did not know how to ask for help, and they didn't know where and everything. So what I wanted to connect, that adult with all the services that that you guys provide, and we have a lot of you on our adult resources page, but also to the resource of our adult social club. That the reason being is that when you're with a group of people that all have the same diagnosis, and they tell you, like, this is what's going on for me, you feel connected, you feel accepted, and you start to learn different ways, different languages, different roadmaps, I guess, to how to get the needs that you need for yourself. And the same thing with parents. The big one, especially with peer parent support group, is that some parents don't know and what they can ask for and what they deserve, or how they can change the services that their children need. And so to be in a space where you're with a bunch of other parents and being like, so how did you guys navigate this? Was a way for them to start learning how to call, offices like once a week, or call a school, or demand a new IEP. These things that parents and adults know that they could do, they're learning in these spaces that, I send them for every time they call. And that's really important. And also in these spaces, they're learning that, okay, so I have this diagnosis, or my child has this diagnosis, and it's not the end of the world. We hope to inspire, we hope to give a little bit of direction. And that's my favorite part of the Navigating Autism program. And a lot of you don't know, but my background is in mental health. So I feel really secure when a family member or an adult calls and they're in crisis. So we have experience of being able to get some crisis intervention, or even having a family come in. We have this amazing, glorious blue couch in our office. And I feel like if someone needs to cry on our couch, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to hold their hands and be like, okay, so that is the whole Navigating Autism program. It's not just like emailing you a resource of like, hey, my teenager has autism, he wants to learn how to drive, how can I do that? But it's also about connecting, and it's about teaching, how you should be accepted. And if you're not, like, let me see if I can help you find your voice, and where other people in your community can help you find your voice as well.
Maxine is a package deal for a navigating autism program. You get therapy, advice, you get like, she really teaches parents and adults how to advocate for themselves and what their rights are. And that's something we've had to do for our own selves. So through our experience, we're able to help others.
And I also wanted to add that one more thing before that is I do speak Spanish and English, and I'm multicultural. My dad was half Black, half Pascoyaqui, and my mom is from Mexico. And what we've noticed a lot is, especially if people have just moved here into town, the Black community or the Hispanic community don't feel very comfortable advocating for themselves until they can find someone that they know they can connect to, usually culturally. So for me, this is not just because I'm a mom who has a child that has autism or two children that have autism, but it's also like my entire experience, my way to connect with like my history, and a way to like really reach out to communities that are sometimes ignored, or sometimes need a little bit extra push or a little help. It's like my position as I want to bring them up. I want to hand them up and say, hey, I got you. Let's see what kind of help we can find you and what kind of voice I can give you.
That's great. That's great. And that, the demand for trainings has increased so much that we really kind of saw what other affiliates were doing in their areas, and they've developed these autism friendly communities. And so they really put together customized packages for training. So what we've been doing in the last several months is finding those experts in our field, in our space, that can go into a school and offer a training. And so we work with, we have experts in every area. So we work with board certified behavior analysts for schools. We have found first responders certified, trainers in Chandler that we can bring, that we've been trying to migrate down here to Southern Arizona. We want to educate business owners on, and we've worked with Vanessa on training and employment training, and trying to really have businesses become more open-minded about being inclusive for autistic individuals. Employers, we're actually working with Pima County libraries. They're developing a sensory hour, and they want our expertise and guidance as they roll out this program across the county. So we are that autism resource and training hub for the greater community, and we've labeled this autism friendly communities. And so this was our most recent training at a school, and we've also expanded this. The school said this was so helpful for us because we got the tools we needed as teachers to be able to help our students with autism, that we actually on Friday worked with their Chandler schools. So we're branching out across the state to really deliver expert, high-level professional trainings to our community. And so that's autism acceptance. And that's what we want to do, is help these sources, provide spaces for individuals with autism. We also do strategic partnerships. So we are constantly finding ways to empower the community to understand what is involved with autism. So what is the therapy associated with autism, how to help your children, how to help, really create a positive environment for your family and to produce positive outcomes. So we've worked with partners at SARC, which is the Southwest Autism Research and Resource Center. And we just wrapped up this program, but these are the types of things that you can expect from us. And last month we had the head epidemiologist from the autism prevalence study that does the 1 in 40 numbers, and she was able to provide insight and knowledge on how we get to that place and where we're headed next, and just her inside look behind the CDC prevalence numbers. So that is what this is part of that discussion. So it was with Dr. Pettygrove, and she was able to tell us a little bit about how they got to that 1 in 40 number. And we're lucky in Arizona because we are one of the selected states selected by the CDC. So these are our partners that we worked with to develop the All In for Autism video. And we're offering a community event on April 2nd where that full-length video will be seen. So it's actually a 10-minute video. And really, I didn't want people to just say, here, I'm all in for autism. I wanted to explain how they were all in. So all of these different organizations explain what they're doing internally to provide spaces for autistic individuals. And so whether that's a tennis program or a transition program, here's what we're doing already in Tucson for the community. So here's a snapshot of what we do. So Maxine talked to you a little bit about our Navigating Autism program, and that's for individuals across the lifespan. And then we also have a set of programs that we run to build community, friendships. They're all virtual right now. And we kind of learned about the needs of our community through the pandemic, through different needs assessments and focus groups. So we've steered what we were doing in 2019 to meet the needs of our community, which really it was all about the workshops, getting the information that they needed right then and there to help their families that were stressed. So we grabbed our experts and we're really able to hone in on those trainings. So this is where you can contact us. Thank you for having us today, and hopefully you'll see a lot of the work that we're doing leading up to April for Autism Acceptance Month, and we're glad that you got a sneak peek of what we're doing, and hopefully you can tell people about the event. It's a drive-in movie event. We're going to show Sing 2 along with that movie, and it's really a way for us to create an intimate gathering still outside and do something new and kind of pivot in a new way, but still really deliver those resources and community together in one space. So that's how you can reach us. And I'm here, Maxine and I are here to answer any questions that you have. But thank you so much for your time and what you do for the community already.
Thank you, Maxine and Brie. That was fantastic. And I can't wait to see that whole video. That was really cool.
Come on out.
Yeah, I loved it. So we have another presenter. Sochi had a question for you before we move on. What's the age range for the teen group and the adult group?
So
I was typing that in the group.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the teen group, it's virtual with Playformance. You'll see the average age is about 15 years old. So anyone from 10 up to like 16, 17, 8, maybe 17-year-old could really enjoy that. And then social group would be, it's adult, 18 and up. And our facilitator is a board member. He is a self-advocate and he works for Banner and is a motivational speaker. And he is just wonderful for the group and really has some neat ideas about where the group can grow.
And thank you for sharing.
Very cool. Thank you. And then I don't know if I mentioned it, but the topic of our meeting today, because we're trying to do themes throughout the year. So when we bring in presenters, we're talking about specific topics. And in case you haven't picked up on it yet, it's about advocacy and social awareness. So thank you, Maxine and Brie, very much for being here. I really appreciate all that wonderful information. And next we have Hailey Thoman.
Thanks, Heather. I do have a PowerPoint more to just keep me on track, but this will probably be like a conversation. I feel like Direct's presented before, and if you want to know more about our services, get at me. But I really tried, because Heather talked to me, tried to come up with some examples and just like how our services work, and maybe some of the things we're doing can help others. So let's see.
Did you want me to share, or do you want to run it?
I can. Let me just open it really quick. I must have shut it. Too many windows, right?
It's a lot to juggle.
Get rid of the ones I don't need. Open the one I do. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so when we were asked to talk about this, I was actually pretty excited, and I know that our time is limited. So if it seems like I'm flying through this, I'm sorry, and maybe we can chat another time about some of it. But this first slide is just like 5 images of people living in the community, and really self-advocacy and advocacy in general gets at the heart of what we do. So you have two women who have ADAPT t-shirts on, and that's an activism group for people with disabilities. You have another woman with a megaphone at a table advocating. You have Justin Dart with, he's the father of the ADA, if you don't know who he is. And behind him is a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." There's another woman advocating with a poster in her hand that reads, "Community living, no more institutions." And then two gentlemen playing wheelchair basketball. So we are just involved in these kinds of things. It's not just self-advocacy for the person, but we actually, I think as a center, so centers are across the nation, we're the one that represents or serves Cochise, Graham, Greenlee, Pima, and Santa Cruz counties. But across the nation, there's 730 of us, and we're actually federally funded to do advocacy work, and that's pretty unheard of. So we are federally funded to organize and create systemic change. We're cross disability. So, you know, if I give examples and you're like, oh, I wonder if this person I know would qualify, any disability is welcome. Anyone with a disability is welcome at Direct. So as I talk about self-advocacy, I thought it would be a good reminder to talk about our approach to services, which is the independent living philosophy. And these are kind of the pillars for that. It's presumptive eligibility. So if somebody says they have a disability, that is enough for services at Direct. It's participant focused and directed. So there's consumer control. So support systems are great, but they can't reach out to Direct and make somebody take services here. It really has to be the person saying, yeah, I want to learn about money management, or I want to learn about self-advocacy. They have to want it for their own life. You know, if they're not interested, they're not probably going to be very committed to services. The next piece, which I think is pretty critical for this conversation, is informed choice. So knowing all the viable options. And then that next one, which is dignity of risk. So the ability to make a choice and have maybe a less desirable outcome, right? Like it wasn't the way they thought it would go. And isn't that life? Isn't that, you know, all of us experience that. And really and truly, people with disabilities are allowed the same right. I think culturally, a lot of times we're told we need to like protect and help people with disabilities, but Direct's philosophy would really challenge that and say, you know, people with disabilities should be allowed to own the decisions made about their lives. And, you know, if a choice has a less desirable outcome, that's just a learning opportunity. And then community integration, which I might not touch on as much here, but that's just, you know, living integrated in the community as much as possible. So I sat here thinking I had so many ideas, and really I thought of, okay, there's two situations, two scenarios that come up pretty frequently at Direct when we're doing an initial meeting with folks, and just how we address those situations. So we'll have a participant who wants services, and they'll say, well, I want my parent or guardian to know everything about my services. And so really taking that, going back to that independent living philosophy approach and making sure they're very informed about how an authorization to disclose works, it's not very effective if it's super vague in general and, you know, we can just share everything. I mean, that's not going to work. So, you know, letting them know that it has to be a little more specific. And why do you want Direct sharing information about your services without you? Because that's really counter to what a SIL is. I mean, you'll hear, if you're in circles with people who are familiar with independent living, the phrase is nothing about us without us. nothing about us without us. So that makes us pretty uncomfortable when it's like, yeah, I just want you to talk to my parent or my guardian and you two just have a nice chat. Wrote me in later, you know, that doesn't really fit our philosophy. So just seeing what the issue is. Why do you want us to share that information without you? Essentially, your parent or guardian could call us and we would just be able to share whatever's going on with your services. What's preventing you from sharing? And oftentimes we find out that no one's ever worked with them on that skill, like going to a meeting and either taking good notes or being more self-aware and sharing that maybe they're going to need us to recap at the end and help them remember all the things that we went over, and that we can do that the last like 5 or 10 minutes of a meeting, help them figure out the way that they like to take notes. Do you like to take it, you know, paper and pencil, or do you want to do it in your phone, or do you want to record us? That there's different ways to help jog your memory. And a lot of times that's what it comes down to. Several participants have just said, I don't remember I don't know what to share. I don't remember what happened. And this skill, I tell them when they're like, oh yeah, you know, I would love to recap services at the end, that should work. I tell them that this skill is so transferable, right? You know, you go to coffee with a friend and someone says, hey, how was coffee with so-and-so? I mean, nobody wants to take their parent or guardian with them everywhere they go, so they know what went on. Like that just seems so silly. So of course they want to be able to have control of what is shared and how it's shared and with who it's shared. And there's going to be other meetings. I mean, not just coffee with friends. It could be any kind of, you know, medical appointment or something. So being clear about what I need, you know, if it's an action item, maybe I ask the person to repeat it. If I need a recap at the end, like, you know, let's go over that so I can record you. And just being really upfront about that and asking for that and knowing that it's okay to ask for those things. Another one that I get asked regularly is to just schedule appointments with a parent or guardian. And really, again, it just comes down to that why. What's stopping you from scheduling your own appointments? And finding out that a lot of times it's just no one's ever taken the time to talk about different calendar systems and be willing to train someone in that. And I think the other nice thing to know about direct is the risk is pretty low, right? You miss an appointment with direct, it's not like there's some huge fee. There's no fee. We're going to call you and just be like, hey, is everything okay? And if it's just honestly like, oh, I screwed up, I didn't get it in my calendar, you know, I'm so sorry. That's okay. We're just learning, you know, how can we work on that so it doesn't happen again, right? So really taking that approach. And what I've found is normally when I ask, hey, why do you feel like you need that support or that additional assistance? With these situations, it tends to be that there's just a skill missing, and it's a valuable skill, and it's almost like the person is excited to learn how to take that control back themselves and be more responsible for those pieces of their life. And maybe up until talking to me, everybody just said, sure, I'll schedule everything through your mom, because it's more work to train someone to learn these skills. I mean, it definitely is. Sometimes I spend an hour onboarding someone with direct because I'm just asking a lot of questions. I really want to understand what the barriers are and how we can help remove them. And one way to help remove some of these barriers is to train these other they're not little, they're big skills, but these other skills that they didn't even know were missing. And I wanted to share this. I made this little slide of this guy with a flag on a mountain. We really believe at Direct that you either succeed or you learn. And really, I would say, even if you're learning, you're succeeding. But it just really goes back to, if you make a choice and it doesn't work out the way that you thought, that's okay, because you gain something from that experience too. It's not, it doesn't mean like, don't ever try again, or, I even kind of avoid using mistake anymore because I think it just has such a negative connotation. So we like to say, you succeed or you learn, something along those lines. So I know that Heather was like, yeah, and if you could identify some resources. So I really wanted to give you guys something to take away. If you're thinking, man, how do we start this conversation around self-advocacy with a youth we know of? There's the You Said Our Future, Our Wishes workbook. I don't know if you're all familiar with that. It's free. I know some of you on this call are from Project Search. You probably didn't even know I was gonna use a You Said resource. But yeah, it's good. It goes over, how to plan for your future. And if my PowerPoint is shared, it links, this is a link right to the page on the You Said's website with this workbook. Another interesting and neat resource is this link here. It's called the Center for Parent Information and Resources. There's like tons of resources. There's a video about why self-advocacy is important. There's stuff on there for individuals with disabilities and parents. So it might be worth checking out if you're really struggling to find some things to help start that conversation. And then, the shameless plug, but Direct is a great resource. We don't have a lot of things for parents because we're here to work with people with disabilities, but we are the only provider of DDD funded self-advocacy classes. And we have been for, I honestly think, decades. So we have self-advocacy classes. We have a new one coming up, and this is for anyone with any kind of disability. We have a new curriculum. It's self-advocacy in healthcare. So it's very specific to like your rights in healthcare settings and how to be prepared. It's got different like worksheets and stuff like that to help people get organized. So to sign up for that, you can just reach out, call our office. And right now everything is still remote, but we have some conversations about transitioning, on the horizon and what that looks like. But for now, it's all remote. So I don't know if there's questions. I know I tried to go really fast because I feel like this is it would be a really good conversation to hear about what other people are doing. I just know that with independent living philosophy constantly in the back of my brain, I am wanting to always include the participant, always let them know about what's going on with their services. Like, I don't know, maybe some of the VR counselors on this call could answer this, but I'm pretty quick to, even if the person uses email and I'm emailing their VR counselor, I just copy them. Like, I'm human, I can get things wrong. Why can't they be in the loop and say, actually, Hailey, that's not what I meant. I wanted this. Oh, okay, like I misunderstood, I don't know if I'm one of the few that do that, but that is like so centered to who we are and just keeping everybody in the loop and on the same page.
Thank you so much, Hailey. Does anybody have any questions for Hailey? Oh, I'm sorry, did I cut you off?
No, I just
Okay.
went to our last slide, which is our contact information, which is how someone would reach out to us to know more. Yeah, I don't know if there are any questions.
That's awesome. And I think something that we heard from parents in our last presentation was just kind of that they didn't really know how to start the conversation. So I think some of the resources that you shared are going to be really helpful. And I'm excited, and we will put these on the Padlet, which there's a link for that on the agenda. So if you're interested in seeing those resources, and Nikki may have put that in the chat as well.
Yeah, I think I saw some links.
Was it? Okay, good.
Yeah.
And then I did open up those links as you were talking, and I put those in the chat too. So if anybody wants to find those. We have 4 minutes left. Go ahead, Hailey.
Oh, I was just going to say the other thing, since you mentioned parents. I am a parent of 3 small kids, but no one who has a disability yet. But I would just say the younger we can start, the better on letting people make decisions for their lives. I mean, that isn't disability specific. That is just raising good, like, self-sufficient humans. And I know it's hard. That's probably where I can relate as a parent. A lot of times it's my husband who's like, Hailey, we are just going to let him fail right now. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure I should swoop in and make it all better. And, you know, really, I mean, my husband, like I said, much better at it than me, but letting people make choices and learn from the outcome, and you being there because you're a support that's here today. But if we're also lucky, our children are going to outlive us. And so, you know, if we spend the time now working through the problems and problem solving with them and, you know, growing those problem solving skills, it will pay off. It will. I think it's much harder when supports have aged a lot or maybe even passed away, and then an adult comes to direct without a lot of support. It is much harder, much harder. So I would agree. I can end there, but.
Yeah, I would agree. And that reminded me of something I was going to say, is that by including someone, a student or a person with a disability in every area and having the patience to let them do the problem solving and have the input, sometimes it does take longer, but that's how you develop that skill. And then eventually they'll get better at it. And that's how they maybe have gotten to adulthood with never having had any idea how to ask for the things or advocate for the things that they want, is because it's faster and easier for somebody to just do it for them. So that's a great bit of advice. Start now, start today.
Well, and Heather, you're 100% right, because I think on the provider side, it's easier for us to just sometimes schedule with the parent and that, or the guardian, and that isn't right. We shouldn't be doing that. We have to spend the time. If we want to see the results, we have to spend the time really just encouraging the person and growing the skills.
Awesome. Well, we have a couple minutes left, and if anybody has any questions, go ahead and unmute or comments, any updates that we missed in the beginning. Now's a good time. And while I'm waiting to see if anybody pops in, just want to remind everybody that on the 12th of next month is our next meeting from 3:30 to 4:30. And our topic is accommodations. And we will have Renee Camphouse from Pima coming to talk about accommodations in college and the difference between high school and college accommodations. And then Deb Wynn has graciously volunteered to talk to us about workplace accommodations. So looking forward to that. Do you have any closing thoughts?
I wanted to share, unrelated, that we are having a vaccine clinic, an accessible vaccine clinic at Direct on March 28th. It doesn't matter if it's your first shot, your second shot, a booster, but we will have COVID shots available, all kinds, Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and the flu shot. So we already did one event. We've got several partners, but we've already got one event. So this is the second follow-up.
Is that for youth and adults?
Yep, 5 and up. Awesome. Yeah, so please share. It's going to be accessible. There was interpreters last time, ASL interpreters, and I don't even know if anyone showed to utilize them, and maybe that's okay. Hopefully hopefully it's so available and so accessible, but we did have 30 people show, which I guess is or a little over 30, which I guess is a lot right now. Like for a clinic, I think the county's last clinic, it was like one person. So any help to spread the word and just let people know that it'll be accessible, I appreciate it.
Do you have a flyer for that? Because we can put that on our Padlet as well.
Yeah, I can send that to you.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. We're right at, just over time. This presentation will be found on YouTube soon. We have to get it all together and then the captions and everything. And so you can share it out if there's a parent or somebody that you know that would be would like to watch these presentations. They were great. But that's all. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you next month.